I'm Muhammad Aidi bin Umar from MSU student. And then,
And my name is Solia Musyairah, also MSU student.
My name is Shafika. I also MSU student.
okay, today interview with our guest is Muhammad Zikri Hilmi, project manager from CDCI. Can you introduce yourself,
Okay.
Encik Zikri?
Okay. Thank you, guys. You guys can hear me, guys? So, as introduced by Ideal just now, I am project manager for business operations, in CDCI. So, I think a little bit about myself. I have experience in multiple types of industry. So, I started off, doing aviation management as my studies, but then I never got to do aviation per se, in working. But then I started off, with telecommunication and also satellite manufacturing and also deployment. And then I went into banking, finance. And then now I'm here doing procurement lah, or IT solutions lah. I think, yep, that's about myself.
Okay, for this interview, we have 15 questions for you. Can we start it now? Okay. First, how do you align your operational goals with overall business objective?
Okay, I think it's important that we understand that operational goals and business objective is two separate things, but it's intertwined. So in the layman terms, operational goals is something smaller than business objective. So business objective is the overall objective. So what your business wants to do. For example, in our company, we are doing procurement system, also, or we are saying that we are an IT solution provider. So an IT company would want to try to create softwares or systems to help ease the operation, create more efficiency for other operations. So what is our operational goal? So it has to tie up back to the business objective. For example, I think you guys do learn in business classes, there's mission, vision, and long-term goals. So you have to differentiate between mission, vision, and long-term goals. So vision and long-term goals is probably two same things. It's the long gested when plan, what you want to do maybe in 10, 20, 15 years. But mission is what you want to do in the next 2 or 3 years. So for instance, let's say I give an example. My IT company, for in the next 2 years, we want to enhance our product or software used for daily operations. So usually in business, it's all about cost saving. Like we want to cut our OPEX, our operational goals. We want to, decrease the operation expenses. So your operational goals has to align with your business objective. So you want to create a better product. So your operational goal must be, you have to, break down into plans. So plan of actions lah. So let's say, how do I achieve my goal as an IT company to create a better product? So I have to reduce my OPEX. I have to create, maybe update my software. Maybe I have to add more manpower, more capable manpower. I have to increase the capacity, the work planning, the manpower planning. So those kinds of things are the operational goals. So I think that's how you align your operational goals. You know what is the big picture, what you have to do, and then how you want to achieve your big picture, how you want to achieve the overall target.
Okay, quite interesting. So about the second question, what method do you use to analyze market trend and competition?
Okay, in business or in entrepreneurship, I think identifying the market trend and competitor is very important, because if you create something that has no demand, or if you create something that has lesser value than your competitors, it's going to be pretty hard to sell. So why analyzing market trends and competition is important is, as I said, because you want to identify your competitors. So let's say if you're selling a same product as competitor 1 and competitor 2, what gives you the edge? So what methods do we use in analyzing market trends? I think it differs with the size of the company. Let's say personally, what we use, I think you guys all know this SWOT: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I think that's the most basic analyzing tool that we can use, because why? Understanding your product strength and weaknesses could lead to a more improved product. So you know what is your product and your strength, and you know the weaknesses. So you have to tackle these two items. And then for opportunities and threat, if you identify your opportunities and also identifying your threat, it would prepare you better to know your product punya limitation, or what is your product punya orang kata UVP or USP lah, that has the better edge. Why your product is better than your competitors. So also another tool that we use, I think, is competitor benchmarking. Competitor benchmarking is knowing where to position yourself in the industry. For example, let's say you are a phone punya manufacturing company, so you create phone. You have to benchmark yourself. You're a local company, you have to benchmark yourself with the local players. But let's say if you are a local player, suddenly you buka company, you terus nak lawan Apple or Google or even Samsung. So it's difficult, because the size and also the capacity, the resources that they have is bigger, way bigger than a local company that can compete. So that's why I think competitor benchmarking is important. So you know where your competitors stand. Maybe right now you are number 5. So you know number 4 punya competitor macam mana, number 3 punya competitor macam mana, number 2 punya competitor macam mana. So that's the importance of competitor benchmarking. So you identify and understand your competitors so that you know how to tackle them in doing business.
So the company were very strong. Okay. All right. Third question. How does market analysis influence your operation strategy?
Okay, market analysis influences operational strategy in a way that, let's say, supply and demand. So you have a product, so you want to create supply to fulfill the demand. So if you don't do your market analysis, you won't know what's the demand. Let's say macam, okay, in this instance, I give an example lah. I think back then there's no demand, macam there is a demand for maps, tapi dulu tak ada technology that can cater online mapping, or you can use it on your phone. So people have to use macam apa physical maps. So let's say if in today's day, in current generation, if you don't do your market analysis, maksudnya you don't know that there's no need for a physical map anymore, you will definitely not make any money. So why market analysis is important to your operational strategy is that once you know what the market wants, then you can create your targets. You can create your targets in, contoh, improving your products, innovating your products to the current trend. So yeah, I think my personal view of market analysis is that. Yeah.
Okay, understood. All right. Question number 4. How do you allocate resources effectively across different operation areas?
Okay, resource management is important in running a business operations. So I think you guys know that resources can be many things. It's not just, I mean, usually people would think resources is money. Okay, resources can be manpower, software, or any assets to run a company, to run an operation. So to put things in perspective, let's say a project has to be delivered in a certain timeline. So in my personal experience, so I'm a project manager. So back in CIMB, my role was to deliver this project with a certain timeline given. So with a certain timeline given, that means they will only give you a start date and they will only give you an end date. And then they will also give you resources. Like, okay, they say you have 5 developers, you have 3 business analysts, you have 2 project managers to run this project. So it's important that you allocate resources effectively. So, but how do you allocate these resources effectively? I put in the perspectives of funds. Let's say they give us 10,000. So
Mhm.
how do you use that 10,000 to jalankan that project? Business is about cutting costs and maximizing margins. So it's your job to find what is the best way to cut costs. So in businesses, of course, you want more profit. Let's say your capex is a certain amount and your opex is a certain amount. So katakan kalau kita punya our operational punya cost is more than our profit, then of course we are not making any money. So
Yeah.
that's why it's important. It aligns back to your first question, your operational punya goals. So it's important to know what you can do and what you cannot do. So in funds punya perspective, that means you need to cut a lot of costs. You need to know, okay, this contoh, this developer is a senior developer. So his work is more, I'll say, proper, and he has more experience. So you have to put him where you don't have to spend more time on doing so. So macam the junior one, you can maybe put it at a certain orang kata task or deliverables that is not too heavy. So that's how you manage your resources. You need to know the capability and also the capacity of your resources. So it's just about, it's like playing puzzle. If you put it here, what happens? If you put it here, what happens? So you as a manager or as a lead need to know what's the best solution to cut your costs or to manage your resources efficiently.
Okay. So different with senior developer and junior developer JD, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, understood. What process? Okay, number 5, sorry. What process are in place to ensure the right talent and technology are available?
Ensuring the right talent and technology requires a combination of strategic planning lah. So usually, I think what the management will do is they will have a management workshop to create the strategic plans. So the strategic planning could be the direction of the company, the direction of the operations, or maybe it's the continuous development of the staff. So it's usually it's a process typically including macam workforce planning. So workforce planning, before you hire someone, usually the hiring manager will have what they call a JD, a job description. That job description will tie back to the organizational punya goals or the operational goals. So what do they need? What are the skills that they require to run the operation? So in that workforce planning, there is a tool called skill gaps analysis. So skill gaps analysis, they will look at the current employees. So let's say currently I have 2 employees. Now I need to add another one in ensuring that my operation goes well. So the current 2 employees, you need to know what's the gap. Macam maybe they cannot do A, but that's why you need another person, a new person that can do A. So the new person has to complement the current person with the skills, with the right skills. But let's say you hire someone that already have the current staff already have the same skill set with the new person. So it's kind of redundant. So macam it doesn't help what you are trying to achieve lah. Macam you want to achieve a new thing, but you still hire the same skill sets. So that's why workforce planning is important lah. And then another is talent forecasting. So I think usually people only look at the hard skills. Macam when you hire someone, they only ask you, hey, what can you do? So what's your experience? But they don't look at personality or how to say their EQs.
Attitude, skill.
Yeah. So macam I think recently our company, we went through a workshop. The management went through a workshop. So there's 4 types of personality. So sometimes putting the different, the unsuitable personality in working at a business unit, it might not work. Let's say you have someone that is very relaxed, macam very laid back, very slow pace, tapi hantar dia untuk buat sales, to do sales. So macam it kind of macam bercanggah lah, macam it doesn't work. Salesperson has to be aggressive. They have to talk, they have to really push people. But then you put someone very laid back, so it might. I mean, 80%
Very
might
effect.
80% might not be
Effect the
effective,
process.
but that 20%, maybe they okay lah. I mean, they have to prove us wrong lah. So that's why in when hiring someone or when you do your workforce planning, it's important to also balance the two, your hard skills and also your soft skills. I think,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
All right, Shafiqah.
Okay. Dengar tak?
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 6. What are the biggest risks in your operation and how do you mitigate them?
I think one of the biggest risks in operation is market volatility lah. So market volatility means up and down. In the market, you cannot control the market in whatever you do lah. Katakan tiba-tiba trend nak pakai iPhone dah turun. Suddenly orang start want to pakai Android because Android punya functionality is better. You cannot predict that. So that's why when you do something like contoh your product, I give you an example. Let's say right now, the government has enforced that we have to use e-invoicing. So we have to generate invoices that is digitalized. But let's say suddenly we change government in another year, kita dah develop the system in invoicing to cater the current requirement for the government, but suddenly the government change. So dah tak perlu. Okay, we don't need, this new government kata tak perlu e-invoicing. They want to start back with GST or apa, they want to stick to GST, stick to SST. Then you already created that product to cater e-invoicing. So those kind of things, it happens. You create something that the government or the current trend requires, the market requires, but suddenly the market change. That's why I say market volatility is a very risky thing because you cannot, orang kata, you can predict, but prediction only goes so far lah. So you cannot tell the future lah. So that's why companies have always has to always adapt. So that's why they have the 5 years plan, the 2 years plan. So katakan if the plan A doesn't work, what's plan B? If plan B doesn't work, what's the other contingency? That's why being in business, it's important that you are always keeping up to the market and always be prepared lah for the market change. Yeah.
Okay. Question number 7. Can you describe a time when risk management helped avoid an operation crisis?
Okay. I think I faced this back when I was in CIMB before I came to DCI. Project timeline. We generated the project timeline to deliver this MIS Management Information System for Singapore. So we have created a timeline. Kita dah tahu, okay, production, bila, development, bila, testing, bila, and whatnot. But then in project management, it's important that we have a risk register. So we already registered. One of the risks was holiday. Holiday seems like a very, say, minor thing. Tapi since we are developing a project for Singapore, the holiday punya, Singapore's holiday and Malaysia's holiday is not the same. But then the ones that are working on the projects are Malaysian people. But we also have to liaise with Singapore punya team. So in our risk management, like I said, holiday is a very minor thing. Orang takkan fikir macam, oh, project apa kena mengenai dengan holiday kan, like it's not going to impact the project as much, but it does. So we registered, okay, holiday Singapore, their Independence Day, sekian, So that avoided an operational crisis. Why I say operational crisis? Because if we did not take into account the holidays from Singapore and also our local team, we could not deliver at that point. So macam kita, contoh Malaysia that day can deliver, but then there's no one to accept from Singapore. So let's say if no one to accept from Singapore, it will delay the timeline. The timeline akan stretch. When the timeline stretch in project management, if you stretch the timeline, that means more money. That means you have to allocate more people to work on it. You have people doing OT, semua. So you cannot cut costs. So I think that is the simplest answer or experience that I can give you how we register a risk and it avoided an operational crisis. Yep.
Okay. Question number 8. How do you monitor the effective of your operational strategies?
I think in most company, not the only lah, the basics of measuring the effectiveness of our operational strategies is KPIs lah, key performance indicators. So KPIs, when you're working, people, your manager or your supervisor or your direct reporting will give you a KPI. So this KPI will be broken down from the operational punya goals. So contoh, one of the operational goals is to cut costs. So cut costs, then you break into KPI. Okay, let's say a developer punya KPI. Macam mana developer nak cut costs? They are just developing. Okay, so how developer wants to cut costs? They probably use the manager for the developer maybe will use a junior punya developer to run on easier tasks so that it will not macam apa, sebab there's a tier for senior, junior, intermediate punya developer. So kalau katakan in project management, mandates untuk senior developer, let's say we ballpark at 4,000 lah. Intermediate maybe 3,000, junior 2,000. So if you put as a manager, your KPI is to cut cost. So you should know how to cut cost. Macam katakan you put a senior punya developer to work on something that is very simple. So macam you have to spend 4,000 untuk something that a 2,000 punya pay rate people can do. So you as a manager, you are not doing well. You are not allocating your resources betul-betul lah. Unless it's orang kata unavoidable. Memang dah tak ada junior developer and that's the only person you have to put, then you put that senior lah. So KPI is always tied back to operational goals. So that KPI will differ lah. Macam it's not standardized. Dia macam kadang-kadang your goals is not to cut costs. Your goal is to make processes in the company better. So project manager punya KPI, okay, you have to create more SOP, you have to create a standardized punya benchmarking, those kind of things lah. So when you create a KPI, there's always a measurement. Maksudnya whether you achieve it, you underachieve, exceed expectations. So that's how you measure. So katakan kalau you tak achieve, then your KPI is orang kata tak achieve lah. But let's say if you achieve or exceed the expectations, then that will show whether your operational strategies are effective through your KPIs lah.
Okay. Number 9 question. Can you share an example of when you had to adjust your strategy due to challenges?
I think this one recently happened. One of our agencies yang we deliver our system, they did not want to sign off the orang kata apa, we call it UAT lah, user acceptance testing. So it's imperative, it's important that they sign off supaya kita boleh proceed with the next step. But then they didn't want to sign off and it's not something that we orang kata anticipated. Macam we expected them to sign off according to timeline. Tapi suddenly they didn't want to sign off. So we had to adjust our strategy by doing a root cause analysis. Kita nak tahu kenapa dia ni tak nak sign off. So what's the issue? So rupanya the issue was people punya issue. Okay, this person dia tak tahu pun nak guna di sistem macam mana, but he wanted a lot of things, blah 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 blah. Dia kata, oh, kalau tak ada benda-benda ni, I don't want to sign off. So how we adjust our strategy? We build rapport. So we send someone that's good at talking to talk to this person. Hey, pergi ajak minum kopi apa? Hey, okay, so about the system. Okay, kita buat macam ni. Let's have the sign off dulu. Then we discuss on what is the further enhancement that you need. Sebab kalau kita tak sign off benda ni, the project akan start, akan delay, and we cannot work on your enhancements. So I think that's one of the example that I can give you lah, that the current strategy masa tu was just, okay, you deliver the project lah, as is. Tapi tiba-tiba ada challenges, ada orang ni tak nak sign off. So we have to adjust. We cannot just, you have to sign lah. Kalau tak sign, scan. he's our customer. Takkan we want to threaten them. So adjust our strategy by building more rapport with the person in charge in the agency.
Okay, question number 10. How do you leverage new technology to improve operational efficiency?
Personally, I am a very data-driven person because I think data can show you a lot in terms of what you can improve, what's going on with the company, where is your company at. So I think personally, I think it's good. It's a good leverage that if we use data analytics and also business intelligence tools, that means you have a database with all the numbers, all the values of your current company punya organizational punya operations. Then you put it in analytics. That means what you want. Contoh, you nak tahu whether the trend of your sales is going up or going down. So use data analytics. You have your data, tapi data tu is all around the place. When you apply business intelligence tool, your data will be segregated, or how to say, they akan put in a lot of factors lah. They can put in the algorithm to get what you want. So contoh, I wanted to see the uptrend or downtrend of our sales. So when you put the data together in that tool, it will show, okay, in January, the sales is here, and then slowly along the year, it's increasing. I mean, without a tool atau a business intelligence tool, they can show a trend saja. But with a business intelligence tool, it will give you an analysis. Okay, why is your sales trending? Macam the trend is increasing. Why is your sales increasing? Instead of just showing a trend, they will show, okay, the sales is increasing because your sales team is pushing. Or atau there's your self-service punya portal is generating more sales. So, okay, why your self-service punya portal is generating more sales? That means more interaction online ke, marketing has been doing well ke. So business intelligence tool will deep dive in your data. Nowadays, I think people or companies are scared to, how to say, invest in business intelligence tools because it's expensive. Contoh, Microsoft punya Power BI pun one license, it's about $200. So macam $200 is about what? 800 ringgit, 900 ringgit. So those kind of things is expensive. But to me, in the long run, once you have those things, it will really help you to understand your operation, where it is going. Is it going down, or is it getting better, or is it improving? So I think new technologies like data analytics and business intelligence is a very helpful, and also it's coming lah. It's coming in the future.
Okay. Next, the question 11. What role does automation play in your operational strategy?
Okay, automation. So there's two sides of the coins lah for automation. I think automation really helps your company, but at the same time, it don't help us as workforce. I think if you guys are caught up to speed, recently ByteDance just released 700 staff because they started to use algorithms and automated punya AI system to run their operations. So for the company, that's good. That means you are cutting costs, dekat paying workers. But then for us as human factor, human resources, people that is working, it's kind of scary because you may be out of the job tomorrow. So it's important that the company knows the balance of taking care of the welfare, understanding why there is a need for human intervention, and why there is a need for automation. I give you an example. For me, I haven't tackled this problem. At work, I have to come up with a daily report, 7 daily reports daily. But to me, I think if I can automate those reports, I can spend more time doing other things. So my 7 reports usually will take me about quarter of the day. But let's say if I can automate my report punya generation, that quarter of the day can be spent doing my other BAU, business as usual. So I can meet with client better, or I can discuss with the team better instead of spending a lot of time doing my reports manually. So I think that's the good side, the good flip of the coin for automation lah. And then
Okay.
like there's also operations that macam customer service, macam customer service. In companies usually they will have like a 24/7 punya customer service, but you cannot expect 24/7. There's always people to how to say to work lah. Macam ada macam banks they have 24/7 punya customer service, but then there's a trend where those who are working the night shift, let's say pukul 3, pukul 4, their productivity level is low because at 3 at 4 a.m. you are sleeping. So macam there is this upcoming punya automation where they use a self-service punya help desk. So they just give AI to help, I say, to cut down 50% of the manual punya self-service. So like I said lah, in the organization punya picture, automation is probably very good, but it also affects us as human lah, yang ada kerja. It may put us out of our job lah, but that's how it depends on how you see it lah.
Okay. Next question number 12. How do customer needs influence your operational decisions?
Come again?
How do customer needs influence your operational decision?
Okay, customer influence is very important. Basically, market and customer is the same thing lah. Your market is your customer lah. So the customer's influence is important to your operational decision is very simple. Let's say your client, your customer wants product A, tapi you create product B. So your operational decision is to create product B. Do you think we can sell product B to the customer that wants product A? No.
No.
So that's why you have to create product punya customization or flexibility lah. I give an example lah. Product customization and flexibility. So that's why customer needs is very influential to operational decision because you are selling. You are, as a business operator, you are creating supply for the demand. So kalau you tak cater the demand, that means the influence that the customer give, maksudnya customer nak tu you tak buat, you tak cater their demand, you're not going to sell anything, so you're not going to make money. That's why I said customer punya influence is very important because what they always say, customer is always right. So but then it's important that you know how to plan your operation lah. Kadang-kadang you tak boleh nak ikut customer. Customer nak A, kita tak boleh nak ikut customer nak A. So you have to find a way or create a strategy to make your way. Okay, let's say, hey boss, okay, you nak A, tapi I punya B ni boleh sekian. It can make your operation more efficient, more effective. So you have to convince them lah. But then it all comes back to the customer influence lah. So I think customer influence is really important lah in operational decision. If you do your operational punya goals without aligning to the customer punya influence, then I think it's not going to be good lah for the company.
Okay. Question number 13. How do you ensure your operations are scalable and sustainable?
Okay, operations can be scalable if you know your data lah. Scalable means you can measure lah. And sustainable, if you know your data, you can measure your data, then you can come up with plans to sustain it lah. So I think how to ensure your operations are scalable is to ensure that your your decision making is data driven. So collect your data as much as possible and identify what are the data required, and then make the decision making. So once you know, your decision is backed by data lah. So if you want to make something, you want to do something, you need proof, or you want to prove something, you need evidence. So if you want to make a decision, your data is the evidence why that decision for the operation has to be made lah.
Okay. Next, number 14. What challenge you have faced in scaling operation and how did you overcome them?
Scaling operations. I think one of the challenges is employee punya training and development lah. So the challenge is as operations scale, to ensure that all the employees are properly trained, properly developed to handle the increased responsibility, the daily tasks, the deliverables are going to be very challenging lah. So once you, so how scalability involved in this employee training and development is that you scale their knowledge gap. Maksudnya with the data, let's say how to measure an employee punya data lah. Contoh their efficiency punya data. Best example, let's say we do sales people lah. Sales people kita bagi dia orang KPI, let's say you do 10 sales a day. But over the stretch of let's say 4 months, they cannot get 10 sales a day, they can only get 2 sales a day, 3 sales a day. So tak capai KPI. So from there we have the data. For that 4 months kita ada data. So what does it imply? Let's say you dah letak apa 10 sales a day, but your sales people only dapat 2 sales. That means they're not performing lah. They're not performing up to your standard lah. So that's how you scale. So bila you dah ada that scale, it's about mitigating the knowledge gap. So the knowledge gap tu kalau ada gap between your staff punya capability dengan your expectation, it will lead to inefficiency dengan error lah. Maksudnya tak align dengan kita punya operational goals. So the solution that I think is good is to establish a training lah. Kita akan tunjuk dia. Okay, let's give an example lah. His name is Michael. Okay, Michael. Based on the data that we have over 4 months, you are not reaching the KPI lah. You tak buat sales 10 sales satu hari minimum. So kita sit down with them. What is your problem? How can you improve it? So macam the challenge is when you want to do training, it involves costs. Atau when you want to do training to people, they might not accept that they are not good enough. So itu akan menyebabkan diorang akan fikir, oh, I'm not good enough. So are you saying that I'm not good enough? I'm actually putting a lot of effort in my work. Manager tak nampak ke? I put in a lot of effort. So that happens when you don't have the data untuk measure your work. So I think that is one of the challenges lah in the operations when it's scalable.
Okay, the last question is question number 15. What KPIs do you use to measure the success of your operational strategy?
I think different business units have different types of KPI lah. It could be efficiency KPI, it could be cost KPI, it could be customer satisfaction punya KPI. So efficiency KPI is usually tied to project management lah. My department lah usually. So efficiency, how you want to are you delivering the project with the given timeline? Are you boleh tak kita dapatkan, contoh kita dah ada baseline, boleh tak kita awalkan the baseline? How efficient are you managing the project? But cost KPI could be in terms of the operational as a whole lah. Katakan kita nak cut cost, so KPI kita kena pakai apa, kurangkan pemakaian apa sistem ni sebab this system will incur pay per use punya cost, those kind of things. And then customer satisfaction punya KPI, it's usually just related to help desk punya people lah, customer service punya people. So that's why I said different types of business units will develop different types of KPI lah. So I've mentioned 3 just now. So that is the usual types of KPI that we use to measure the success of the operational strategies. Okay.
So we already done our 15 question for Encik Zikri from CDCI. So thank you for having us and making time to us. So yeah, Thank you so much. And we from MSU appreciate what you have done to us. And so yeah, see you again.
Okay.